OBS Studio version 26 is now officially out, and with it comes a whole heap of new features, changes, and bug fixes. Now, if you've been subscribed to the Gaming Careers channel for a while, you probably know that I cover these OBS Studio updates, and they seem to be super popular with the Gaming Careers community. So we're going to be covering exactly what's new in version 26, paying special attention to those key features that make the biggest impact for your live streams. Just before we get started, I'd like to give a big thank you to the sponsor of the video, Oslo. Now, Oslo is a new software service built from the guys over at Streamlabs that helps you simplify your video review and collaboration process. Oslo allows you to easily upload and share video projects securely in the cloud, where you can get frame-accurate comments right on your videos and post directly to your YouTube channel. If you ever find yourself needing to collaborate on videos, I'd highly recommend checking out Oslo using the link in the description. Okay, so the first new feature, which I think is going to be a bit of a game changer for streamers, is the source toolbar, which is going to allow you to have some really easy control over your different sources in OBS Studio. The source toolbar sits just below your preview window above your scenes and sources and allows easy access to relevant controls for the currently selected source. You might need to toggle the toolbar to be viewable by going to the View menu and then Source Toolbar. Now, depending on which source you have selected, you're going to see different options in the source toolbar, but for every single source, you're going to see two that are common, which is properties and filters, which allow you to easily access the properties and the filters options for that source. But you are going to be able to see different controls depending on which type of source you have selected. So if you select a text source, you're going to see options for font, color, and the actual text shown. So no longer do you need to open up the properties just to change the text from a text source. For browser sources, you're also going to be able to refresh the source. For display capture, you're going to be able to choose which display you want to show. And for game capture and window capture, you're going to be able to choose the specific window choice. Now, for media sources, VLC video sources, and image slideshows, you're going to get some additional playback controls, which are really useful if you need to scrub through a video source or if you want to skip to the next image in an image slideshow. Finally, for video capture devices like webcams, or maybe you have a capture card, you're going to be able to have the option to deactivate and activate from the source toolbar, which is super useful because certainly for some of my capture cards, sometimes I need to refresh them by quickly deactivating and activating them again. The next big feature is a new noise suppression filter, which I did actually talk about in my last video, but it's called RN Noise, and it's going to be super useful for you if you have a noisy background for your live streams. Now, OBS Studio did previously have a noise suppression filter built in, but this new one called RN Noise is an AI-based noise suppression method with significantly better results for voice than the pre-existing method, which is also still available and is under the option Speaks. RN Noise has been built to be small and fast with no expensive GPUs required like you see with the NVIDIA Broadcast, which I've covered on this channel. It runs really easily actually, even on a Raspberry Pi. Now, I covered some comparisons when I did my NVIDIA Broadcast video, so I'll include those now here so you can hear the differences between old OBS Studio Speaks noise suppression, the new RN Noise, and then also I'll throw in the NVIDIA Broadcast noise suppression too. So first of all, this is how it sounds when I am typing with no noise reduction, no noise removal anywhere. This is me speaking whilst typing with OBS Studio's noise suppression filter, the Speaks setting. This is me speaking and typing with the new RN Noise suppression filter in OBS Studio. And finally, this is me speaking with the NVIDIA Broadcast noise reduction. Next up, we have Virtual Camera, which is a feature that used to be included as a plugin, which you could optionally install into OBS Studio. They've cleaned it up, got rid of some bugs, and now included it in the official version 26 of OBS Studio. So what Virtual Camera allows you to do is it allows you to use the OBS Studio output as a camera in other applications on your computer. So this really is super useful if you want to impress your friends or colleagues in a Zoom call with some slick production using your OBS scenes, sources, and transitions. It also allows you, of course, to add some filters to your camera, which other software like Zoom probably doesn't allow you to do. A couple of caveats is that it is for video only, so you still will need to go into Zoom or Discord or wherever you're using the virtual camera and make sure you add your microphone as the audio source. Also, right now it is Windows only, although they are working on the Mac and Linux versions too. Now, those, in my opinion, are the biggest three features of OBS version 26, but there's certainly quite a few other changes that they've made, which we'll rattle through now. They've added the ability to take screenshots of the previews, sources, or scenes with hotkeys, something that hasn't existed in OBS Studio since release. They've added sRGB color support, although they've changed it back to default to 709 rather than sRGB because of apparently some incompatibility with YouTube. This is a more accurate color representation if you wish to use it. They've made some changes to projector where you can now right click and make sure a specific projector always stays on top of all other windows. Also, projectors associated with specific monitors will now be deleted when the monitor is disconnected from your PC. They made some changes to the cursor when editing items in the preview just to make it a bit more clear exactly what you are doing, so dragging edges or moving sources around or things like that. They made some big changes to the transition interface just to make it a bit more clear exactly what you're doing or if you're wanting to add a new type of transition. They have increased the update rate of the level meters in the audio mixer from 30 Hz, which they were previously, to now 60 Hz. So you should now see an improved smoothness and responsiveness of your audio meters. If you make use of the auto configuration wizard, which runs when you first install OBS Studio, it will now suggest just standard resolutions like 1080p or 720p when selecting the resolution you'd like to use. For those of you that use OBS Studio for recording, you can now add slashes in the recording name format to automatically create directories when recording or making replays. This is super useful if you want to do something like organize all of your replays or all of your VODs by day. You can create folders based on the date and then all your replays go in those folders automatically. For those of you that use LUTs for your cameras, they've improved performance and accuracy of using the LUT filter. And of course, if you have not yet downloaded my LUT pack of 30 free cinematic LUTs for OBS Studio to use on your cameras, I'll make sure I'll include a link to that down in the description as well as the video card above. If you make use of the VLC playlist source, you can now rearrange the order of the videos inside by just dragging and dropping items rather than needing to click the little up and down arrows. They finally made the change to update the default audio sample rate to 48 kHz instead of 44.1 kHz, which should help with the mass amount of people that have stuttering microphones and things like that. Along with all of these new features we've discussed, they have fixed a whole bunch of different bugs, as always wanting to try and make OBS Studio as stable as possible for all of the people that are using it for their live streams. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite feature is of the new version of OBS Studio. I think for me, it's either the source toolbar or the new RN noise suppression filter. The noise suppression filter is just so useful, especially for all of you that aren't using NVIDIA Broadcast, maybe because you don't have one of the latest versions of the NVIDIA card. So it's really great to have a low weight version of noise suppression available for you in OBS Studio. If you love talking about OBS Studio and streaming and growing your channel and all those kind of things, I'd heavily recommend joining the Gaming Careers Discord server where we have thousands of members, content creators and streamers talking about all these kind of things. I'll leave a link to that down in the description below. A massive thank you as always to the OBS team who continues to work and develop OBS Studio, give you all of these features for free. It really is an amazing tool that so many streamers are using today. If you haven't yet checked out my interview with Jim, who is the founder and lead developer on OBS Studio, it was one of the early episodes of my podcast, which I'll also leave linked down in the description below. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. I need one.